All right, guys. I don't even know what to say. Midnight Tides. Midnight Tides. This is my review. I just coming off of the book. I read for the entire day yesterday until 9 or 10 o'clock in the evening, and I also listened to the audiobook. So I just absorbed everything in this book, and the ending was spectacular. So I'm gonna do a review now, coming fresh off of the book, and the first part of it is gonna be spoiler free for those of you who just want a spoiler free experience, just to know, how I feel about this. Maybe you're new to the series, or maybe you've read up until a certain point, but you haven't read this book yet. So that part is going to be for you, and then we're going to have the spoiler part, which is going to be longer probably, because I need to talk about this, guys. So first of all, wow. Like, how do I even express how epic this was? Let me tell you this. This is a 5-star review. Okay? This book gets 5 stars from me. So it's already up there. If I'm going to give you a little bit of context, this is a restart on a new continent. It is the 5th book of the Malazan Book of the Fallen, but it is a restart, just like in Guardians of the Moon and Dead House Gates. They start anew with totally new characters, and everything's just a restart on a new continent. This one is a restart as well. This is the 3rd and final restart in the 10-book series, as far as I know. So, it is a bit tougher to get started and to get into. But on the other hand, you have a lot of information about the world. You have a lot of background information about things, so that really helps. But wow, I am so blown away by this. This is definitely a 5-star review. And what I can tell you as spoiler free is that it's on the continent of leather, and there is a empire called the Leathery Empire, and they're kind of like very much focused on money, economy, debt. They even have something that's like a stock market, and they kind of use this capitalism, but it's not called capitalism in the series. They kind of use it to leverage it against their enemies, and their whole society is built on that, a very extreme version of capitalism, I would say. And it's really interesting to explore in this setting that's very medieval. On the other hand, you have the Tista Eater that are like, gray-skinned version of the Tistiandi, or not version, but they're a different race, but they're kind of close to them. And they are kind of in a conflict with the Leathery Empire that consists of humans. That's the intro to it, basically. It has something to do with seals. And the prologue to this, oh my god, just when you read the prologue, it's probably my favorite prologue in the series this far. And I'm not going to say more for those of you. So the spoiler-free version is everything I just said, but I'm also going to add that this is probably the most traditional fantasy experience. If you really like these old school fantasy stories with dragons and swords and epic stuff, this and House of Chains opening were the closest to it. This is still Steven Erikson. This is still Malazan. This still has weirdness. This will still subvert some expectations. But this had some elements that I really, really adore and that I really love. So this was for me, the most traditional RPG or fantasy-ish book. But it's still Malazan. It's still very complex, and it's still, you can see it's a lot to take in. Wow. I do have some criticisms. I do have some, some things where I feel like, wow, why? But those are so minor that they can't even take away 0.1 point from the 5 stars. This is 5 stars. Read it. If you're thinking about it, or if you're just wondering, is this series even worth getting into? Does it keep the same level? I am appalled. 5 books in, and in some ways, this is the best book in the series. But it's not my number one. but they're all 10 out of 10, almost all of them for me. So this is just confirmation. If you just want that confirmation from someone, I'm blown away. I don't even know what to say. And this book has, if you ask me, the best prologue and the best ending ever. Maybe the best ending I have ever read in a book in my entire life. I am still processing it. So, I don't even know what to say. This was, wow, spectacular. And what an experience and what a privilege to have found this series. I had no idea that I'd be sitting here almost 1 year after I started Gardens of the Moon, and I'm on book 5, and I'm still in love with the series even more. Because it's also one thing to talk about each book separately, but when you read these books, the way the series is structured, they also build upon each other. And, you know, with all of that knowledge, as it's kind of like a prerequisite for reading it, because some people have said you can read Midnight Tides first, because chronologically, technically, it's before the first book, but I heavily disagree. Like, follow the order, because there's so many things that fall into place in the right way because you have read the books in publication order. Whether it be the 10 books or if you mix in the Esselmont books, that's totally up to you. So yeah, a little bit longer, spoiler-free than I thought, but wow, man, like how is this even possible? I'm appalled. Now, getting to the spoiler part, so all the spoiler-free people, thank you for listening. Thank you for staying, but if you want to avoid spoilers, then you have to click pause now. Final warning, spoilers are coming. So for those of you who are more experienced, you probably read this already. Spoilers are incoming. I just have to start with a joke. I just have to start with a joke, guys. The seals have been avenged, okay? The seals. One does not simply go seal hunting, okay? All of these seals whose lives were taken prematurely, they have been avenged. And that's basically the moral of the entire book and the entire story is don't mess with the seals. No, but jokes aside, I do love the fact that the seal hunting event is something that triggers this whole thing in a way. I do love that. Something else would have done it, but I just love that was a thing. And the way it's seen, like, there are so many scenes in this book that just feel timeless. The way things flow together. I didn't like Troll, though. I have to say, I did not like Troll until maybe at the end, because he was such a contrarian, and at the same time a contrarian, annoying guy, skeptic, and at the same time like a people pleaser that's easily manipulated with compassion. It doesn't make sense to me. Like, bro, that's too many personalities in one. That did not make sense to me at all, and it was just weird. And he was just like he felt like an annoying kid at sometimes. It's one thing to question, but he didn't. That combined with his experience and his prowess in battle, it made him feel like, he could have been multiple characters. That would have been better. Troll was way too... I know this is not the right terminology, but in stupid people terminology, schizophrenic. He was way too many personalities, too different. It was not believable for me at all. He was quite annoying. And it didn't make sense. Just like Perrin in the first book, that's like, oh, the Hound of Shadow. I have so much compassion for these hounds that fucking tried to kill me. Like, bro, that's too forced. You are forcing the compassion part. You are trying to force feed me with this compassion bullshit. Sometimes you do it good. Sometimes it's done perfectly. The Maib in book 3 was perfect. But some of the compassion stuff is just atrocious and really badly done, if I'm going to be honest. So that's one criticism I have. Did not enjoy Troll a lot, but he is necessary, and he's actually good for the plot, and I really started feeling for him by the end of the book. I have to admit that. So he grew on me. A lot of characters grew on me in this book. Serenpedak, Halbedict. I did love Teol from the beginning, because Teol is... I'm in a chapter of my life that's pretty similar to Tell in many ways. All of them are legal, don't worry. But Tell and Bug, oh my god. Bryce, I liked Bryce. I even like Garen Ebrecht and how you slowly see, like how it's slowly revealed. He seems kind of cool in the beginning, but then you realize some stuff, you put some stuff together, and you're like, that was a really good villain. I enjoyed it. And what about the Tista Eater stuff? Like the roulette stuff was so trippy. Like, I'm sending you on a quest. I'm the Warlock King. I'm sending you on a quest to retrieve a sword. Like, wow. Or retrieve an object. And what happens after that is just so sick and fucked up. Wow, it was so cool. It was so incredible. It was funny though how, Soul Taken are seen as like epic, powerful creatures. But in this book, they're like Soul Taken wolves are like, they're like regular mobs in a video game. They just die. That's what they do. The Jack, they just die in this book. That's what they're like good at. They just die. So that was kind of funny. But yeah, I wanted some more Jack in this book. I missed that. I wanted some more elaboration on the Jack, the relationship to their god. How did that actually work? How was the sword like? Don't spoil it for me, but am I supposed to understand how it was made because they knew about the sword, but it was created afterwards? Were they guarding it? Like, how does time flow here? I don't know. I don't care about that. But these things were just so cool. The Shirk Alal stuff and Tail, all of that was kind of comic relief, but at the same time relevant and cool. I didn't enjoy some of those parts. For some chapters, I was like, why do we have so much, Bug and Tail cooking stuff that you're not supposed to eat? Like, I understand he's trying to be funny, but it's a little bit like, bro, you're wasting my time a little bit. But it was fine. It was fine, and it was worth it. But it was a little bit too slow paced sometimes, if I'm going to be critical. But wow, what a journey! I don't even know what to say, and the roulette parts were just, I'm very curious to continue with Reaper's Gale. And now I have to read Bone Hunters or Knight of Knives. I haven't decided yet. I'm probably going to go with Bone Hunters because I probably want to focus on the series. But yeah, the whole thing with the crippled god and Hanan Mosag's plans being thwarted, Roulette being, I hated Roulette in the beginning. I was like, this is crazy. But then he kind of opens up and Udinas supports him, and he has this moment with Troll and Fear, and man, that broke my heart. And all of the interactions, one of my favorite things about this book was also all of the interactions between Troll and Fear, because I really liked Fear as a character. I really liked him, and I felt like he was the main character to me. I know he's not supposed to, because, it's written like, okay, it's Troll, it's Serempedak, it's Tail, these obvious main characters, if you're going to call them that. But for me, Fear was oh man, I really felt for him. And, the whole thing with, he's just so stoic and tries to do the right thing. Troll does too, but Troll is a little bitch. It's a little bitch. A little whiny little bitch. But yeah, and the roulette stuff and the way he softens and tries to balance things. But you don't know if he's fake or if he's trying to be real because of Udinas. And then he totally breaks, when shit hits the fan. That was just so incredible. And I was so surprised also by the fact that so many of the characters were it was kind of a slow burn up until a certain point. And then it hit me. And then these characters hit me. And then they just blossomed from nowhere. Hull is a good example of this. Bryce I always liked because he was a stable guy. He knew what his duty was. He also knew his limitations. He knew that he's not this witty guy that's going to be in the court and, have these subtle interactions. I love his honesty. Kurukan is so cool. My man, my wizard, the Wizard King. He should be called the Warlock King. He's a shit. Love that guy. Man, this was so fucked up. The ending is the best ending. Like, I can't even say anything about it. How can you make such a good ending? The ending of this book is the best ending this far. It's the best ending I have ever read in a book. Gardens of the Moon is probably still number one for me because that book is just my favorite. But this has come the closest to being number one. Maybe it is, maybe it's not. But it's definitely 5 stars. The ending and the prologue of this book are just perfection. And by the ending, I mean like the final 100 pages, or something like that. Wow. Like, that scene in the Eternal Domicile is just... Oh my God. It's burned in my memory. It's like I was there. It was just so many things happening at the same time. And I feel like this ending, Steven Erikson nailed it. You know, I love Gardens of the Moon. It's my favorite book of all time. But that ending was pretty much scattered. There was some epic shit happening. Really loved it. But it was a little bit too much like scattering of stuff and, you know, different things to look at. And I think he just put together the best stuff from the endings in this and made a perfect ending. This was a perfect ending. A perfect ending. Flawless. I'd say Gardens of the Moon was quite scattered. Deadhouse Gate's ending was... I'm not thinking about the Felsen part because that's basically Dune. Like Dune. Insert Dune. But the Coltane stuff was really sad. That was Deadhouse Gate's ending for me. It was Coltane. It was the whole... how that concluded and wrapped up, and it was so tragic. So you have scattered ending, you have tragic ending, and the third one was kind of disappointing. Like the final parts of the end, it was kind of confusing and disappointing, and like, okay, we won, but question mark, a lot of war and conflict. The fourth one was like a better version of the Gardens of the Moon ending, in my opinion. The ending of the fourth one was taking everything from the first books. There's a big war. There's sad, tragic events, obviously, with the duel. And there's also a lot of different perspectives. So House of Chains ending really upped the ending game. And then this one just blows all of them out of the water. And I didn't think it would be possible. Wow. And just have to mention my two brothers, the Kenril A. I love them. Why are they not named? I love these two guys. I love them. Okay? Why are they not named, Erikson? Why did you not name these two Kenril A brothers? Why? You named Lilac, that's a Kenril Ra, but you didn't name the Kenril A, the two fucking brothers. I love them. And I love that that's like the final scene. They're like, oh, we threw this four-crewless sail down the fucking drain. I wonder what it's going to be like to piss down. And they fucking do. I love that. Yeah. I hope we get to know some more about these demons and demonic worlds. And I also love the way this brings everything together so you understand about the nascent realm. And kind of, I don't know everything about it, but you kind of understand what made it happen like that and why. It was basically a diversion by Rulad. One thing that I have to criticize. There are some things, you know, like the earlier books where why, Steven Erikson, can't you just write something and I actually understand what is happening? What the fuck, bro? Like, what the hell? Sorry. I love your books. They're the best thing in the world for the last year. But... why do you, when you write something sometimes, I don't understand jack shit. And it's not because I'm stupid. Well, I am stupid, but I don't. Like, I read the book and then I listen to the audiobook, which is how I read, by the way, and I still can't understand it. In Deadhouse Gates, it was the fucking Salanda dragon scene. It was like unfathomable. I could not understand jack shit. Like, I had to reread it. I had to read summaries of it and be like, okay, now I think I maybe fucking understand. But it was just like, why can't you just have a character when it's that complicated? Why can't you just have one character repeat what happened or summarize or something? You know, it's not that hard. And in this book, it was one specific thing that was fucking impossible to understand. I have to be critical. I love this book. This is probably my top 2 book of all time in my life, but I have to be critical about this. The scene that's incomprehensible is when Udinas gets to the Azath graveyard place. Like, it's fucking incomprehensible. How am I supposed to understand everything that's happening there? How am I supposed to understand that Shelthathalor was the one who was pulling down Silch's rune? Because it took me a lot of like rereading and thinking and listening to the audiobook to even fucking understand that. Yeah, and I had written notes too. Like, yeah, she was the one that was captured by the other two. They put her in the Azat house, and she's the one pulling down Silch's rune, and the Wival is coming to get him, and Wither kind of wants that to happen too, and the Azat house was also letting Silch's rune come out. Like, that was way too hard to understand. Why couldn't you have someone say something about it, bro? Like, what the fuck? And what happened to the Wival? Did Udinas turn into the Wival, or did the Wival come out of him? I understand the Wival came out of him, but it was also unnecessarily convoluted. So that part I have to criticize. It was so hard to get. But otherwise, this is definitely an improvement on all of the books in almost every way. And I'm totally in love with this book. This is just like... And the way the Avowed are badass, but it was still kind of comical relief and light. I want to read more about the Crimson Guard now. So that's my current thought. Like, am I gonna continue with Bone Hunters, or do I go with Knight of Knives? Then I read Bone Hunters, Reaper's Gale, and then maybe I go into the Crimson Guard. What do you guys think, by the way? Help me. What do you think about reading order after this? I'm probably going to go Bone Hunters, but at some time I might go, read Crimson Guard and Knight of Knives and Stonewheeler. So let me know what you think about reading order, because at this point I've read 5 of the Book of the Fallen, but it seems like now is the time to make decisions, and I'll keep you updated. And this was a little bit long, but this has been a wonderful experience, and I don't know. By the way, thanks for everyone who's subscribed. Thanks to everyone who's ever liked. If you like this, give me a thumbs up. Thanks to everyone who has written a comment in the past and is going to do for this video and will do in the future. And also want to thank the artist Jason for the thumbnail cover of this video. He's really good at this. I love his artwork, and I actually asked him permission to use it as a thumbnail, and he says yes. So I'm going to link his stuff down below, and check him out. He's really great at what he does, and I really love that he's one of these artists that makes Malazan come to life in a way that I appreciate, and I really, really, really appreciate that. So let's keep this series alive. It deserves it. It deserves every praise, every second of attention that it can get, because this is spectacular. And thank you, everyone. Stay tuned, and I'll talk to you soon again. Cheers.